G'day guys, and welcome to a preview for the 2018 Golden Slipper Rose Hill on the 24th of March. Looks like they're rail's going to be in a 2 metre position. I know they're saying it's an 8 or something similar at the moment, but expecting it to be improved a little bit. I'd say something around the 67 range, probably 8 at worst. So probably really setting up for around the 7 mark. Really interesting looking race this year. It definitely doesn't look a race in 1 or 2. Looks a few different angles. The two favourites are coming through dual preparations, and when I say that, I think they've already had a grand final. Trying to back up into another grand final on a testing surface certainly should make life interesting. Thinking that the track will play a little bit off the inside, that's for sure. Probably 5, 6, 7 off the inside they'll be trying to get to in the straight, but obviously want to be trying to save ground in the run, ideally, which is the pattern of Rose Hill. So it's not easy to sit wide and win unless you've got a 3 or 4 wide cart, and then really need to try and pinch ground until the straight. You don't want to be sort of coming wide with no cover and trying to maintain a run. So that in mind, the race is certainly an interesting one. Probably easiest to go from top to bottom and then come back and have a look at the races. And overall, as you can see, the sort of the shape of the race is that there's speed drawn wide, but there's a lot of speed drawn in these inside gates. I know Legend of Condor's definitely an emergency at this stage. So removing it, you've still got sort of the inside 7 gates have all got speed. Prairie Fire probably eases out of that. The others all looking for a position, that's for sure. Definitely think that Sizzling Bell wants to take a sit. I think Sandbar will be happy to be in the first 5 or 6 without kicking up. Written By Sunlight maybe want to take a sit, but I'm not sure whether Written By even can. He looks a pretty keen going thing. F Troop's in a similar position, whether it can take a sit, but I think they probably want to. I don't think it really sees out a strong 12 from being up front, and I don't think it can absorb the pressure of a slipper and maintain that. Sunlight certainly would be happy to take a position, sort of a 1 out, 1 back, 1 out, 2 back position, I think. And then we've got the likes of Santos, which if he jumps cleanly, he'll be happy to be on speed. He looks a strong type. If not, he'll probably settle in just behind these horses. Then we've got Secret Lady and Esther Jarb coming across. I thought Esther Jarb was just drawn ideally to really push that button early and burn them off and try and maintain that even, quick tempo. It looks a horse that can really rattle off fast, even splits, and if they get it right, I really do think it's the horse to beat. I think it needs to be ridden ugly. I think ridden pretty last start. He gave too many runners a chance in behind him, even though they did run time on paper. I thought it was sort of not the way to ride this horse, and even the start before that, it just didn't seem to like the stop-start tactics. I really think if it's let roll from this outside gate, it's going to set one heck of a task for the others to run them down. The other horse that I'm thinking is not ideally suited by this draw is Performer with the blinkers on, but it's probably the horse that cuts in across a couple here and tries to find a 3 and 4 wide trail with that position, with that blinkers on, and really, the more I look at it, probably it couldn't have gone too much better for it, really, because there's so much speed drawn inside. I think there will be a 3 or 4 wide train, and he could easily be on the back of one of those runners. So it definitely does look at testing pace. I would imagine 1 or 2 kick up from that inside, and then you've got the others coming from the outside as well that look to maintain a fastish tempo. Going from the top, Written By's obviously unbeaten, 4 starts, 4 wins, winner over 1,000 metres on debut at Sandown Hillside before, put away. Came back, won the Group 3 at Caulfield, sat 1 out, 1 back there, so sat just behind the leaders and a solid enough win. Then again, set 3 wide there, I think, sat out with cover at the start after that and won at Caulfield, beating Uhud, who was, we'll probably have a look at that one quickly because it highlights 2 interesting runners here. So Written By's obviously up front here in the Neville Begg colours. Uhud gets out the back, in the blue cap. In the yellow colours coming to the turn here, we'll see. So this is Written By coming up outside leader. Uhud's been wide and chasing. This is the Blue Diamond we're looking at here. So it was the start before, that Written By sat just in behind them. Dominant win here, really sits outside the leader, which is obviously a very difficult place to win a race from, especially a high pressure race like this. Puts them away, even though they're slowing down here. He puts a gap on the rest of them around him, and then where it's left to the back markers to chase. Obviously, Ehud was wide and chasing there, and a big strong effort. Has come out and trialled well in blinkers. Wears blinkers for the first time. Definitely get to Ehud soon, but 25 to 1 looks an over exaggeration on its price. Written By's come out off that effort where it was obviously dominant and led here. Sandbar's behind it, so we'll remember its run from this run. Obviously had the cold sit on it, got up the inside of it, which may have been a slight disadvantage, not too much, and they really raced well to the line. I thought Written By maybe was a little bit weaker on the line than Sandbar. He looked like he'd had enough ride on the line. He was 3 weeks between runs there, and is theoretically entitled to improve a touch off that, maybe. It's still 4th run into its prep. Already had a grand final, second up over the 1200. Had another 1200 3 weeks between runs, and now he's got to try and do it again in a high pressure race. That wasn't a high pressure race last week. I really think I'm not saying he's can't win, but I'm thinking $465 is a little bit short in a horse. I think he's got an each way chance, but he really needs to disprove quite a bit of history kind of thing. He's really got to put together a huge performance again to win this race. Number 2, Santos for the Gay Waterhouse team. Ran a couple of solid enough races first prep, but definitely a horse who appreciated that preparation, came back stronger. I thought his first up win here was quite impressive. He beat, not what's turned out to be a super high class field, but Legend of Condor went out favourite here. He got outside the leader quite easily and over raced. This is his biggest problem for me. He races a little bit keenly. He gets a little bit stirred up in the mounting yard, and he leaves a little bit out in the paddock before he gets to game day, and that's maybe his problem here. If he puts it all together, he's a horse that really can give this race a shake. I think he's a strong, well-profiled type from the right stable. He did work in the blinkers on Tuesday. I don't believe he wears them on race day, but I like that she's thought he's needed another gallop coming into this and that he can cope with it. He's obviously doing very well, and he's put in a good gallop there on Tuesday with the blinkers on and comes out here, and I thought that effort was another outside leader performance, strong through the line there. He went off that and won again in this strange lead-up race on this strange day where there were some weird results. It was a pretty sticky track, I think, and he wasn't away best there. He just looked a little bit flat compared to his first up run. Eventually got outside the leader, chased hard, they went quick there, so it was a good effort to get off the canvas and beat the likes of sort of Sandbar and Spin, who Sandbar obviously showed with a narrow defeat to Written By that form's okay. He had the hardest run in the race for mine, and he fought them off. He's drawn to find a position here, but you just want to see him jump cleanly. He's definitely not completely bomb-proof, but I do think sort of $10 is around the right price. I think he can definitely win, and he's definitely a strong enough type to deal with sort of a 3-wide run. If they do go slow because of the heavy track, he'll be there and he'll run well. If they go quick, he could probably settle in just behind and should be finishing off. I do really think he's got a strong each-way chance in this race this year, and one of probably 4 or 5 strong winning chances in the race. Number 3, Ale Merton, winner in midweeks, a maiden not too long ago, only the 21st of February, then went to the Group 2 last start where the performer obviously fell or dislodged the rider at the 200 or 300 metre mark. Ale Merton sat in behind. He had the perfect run, just checked off heels a little bit there behind F Troop. Obviously a big step up in grade from a Group 2 to a $300,000, a maiden to a $300,000 Group 2. The time was okay. There's not too much wrong with the time. The problem is that the short price favourites not finished the course, so you've got to say he's a little bit flattered there. When we're looking at the likes of F Troop and Tchaikovsky, who come out and won a maiden at Gosford during the week, it's a little bit hard to line the form up, especially with this runner on the deck, with this jockey on the deck. So it's just tough to line this horse up. I don't like the choice of jockey. I thought Andrew Adkins was a little bit stiff to lose the ride here, but that's completely up to connections. He looks to sort of get a similar run to Santos, maybe just off the speed, probably try to find Santos's back. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop up. Definitely wouldn't be surprised to see him in the finish, but I do believe he's entitled to be big odds here and definitely does need to improve significantly. Longleaf coming off 3,000 metre wins, 1,200 in the Blue Diamond. He was shown up and beaten a long way. Definitely not really entertaining him here despite getting the blinkers on. 28 days between runs from a good stable. Wide draw, he's in a lot of pain. I don't doubt they'll press forward over 1,200 metres. So risking him. Interesting runner that I've sort of wanted to pen when I seen the draw come out here and a few things was Performer, but just have to entertain him. The more you look at it, the more he's the strong horse, the more he's been typically set for this horse by Chris Waller. He's learnt from previous years where he may not have had so many up-and-coming 2-year-olds, and this year he's definitely allowed this horse to find its feet, given it a good grounding, and it should be peaking on race day. We'll have a quick look at the trials since its last run with the blinkers going on, and you can see that he showed a lot more tactical speed. He travels much keener than he certainly did without the blinkers. And when he's exposed late here, he gets to the outside of the leader and definitely lengthens nicely. You can see his action looks a little bit sharper. He definitely doesn't look as dour as he was looking early in his preparation, and everything says that he's sort of matured on from that run last start, despite the issues that he did have. He did look a little bit lean and light there a couple of runs back at the trials, and he's obviously put on condition from all reports, so that's a great sign as well. I've marked him favourite. Despite a wide draw and where he looks like possibly getting is not ideal around Rose Hill, but I do think the race will pan out nicely for him. If they do go slow and he finds a 3 and 4 wide trail, I think he'll be strong and can work into it earlier. If they do go quick, he'll find a sort of a midfield position, and again he should be strong. You can see he's got his prick there late on the line and really looks primed to go in this race, despite that little issue that happened last start. F Troop we've talked about. I think it'll find an on-pace position. It should be week late for mine. I don't really think it's a winning chance, maybe a rough place chance. Prairie Fire is a similar sort of horse. I don't see it being strong late here, even though it's drawn a nice gate. I thought I'd see it midfield-ish and probably staying around there. Sandbar definitely had his chance last week. He seems a real racehorse. He seems a real fighter and will put on a big, strong performance, but maybe just a length or two shy of the good ones here this time around. Or maybe next time in he can go up a level, but I just think he's just going to be a little bit found out at this level, and maybe an each way place chance better. He can definitely finish sort of top 5 or 6, no doubt about that. Sunlight's the next super main chance we're talking about here. She's won the last 5, obviously quite impressively on most occasions. A couple of easy kills on the Gold Coast before she put away the Gold Coast Magic Millions, and then given a 42-day break before she came back, had the nice run there behind Esther Jarb and did what she had to do. Obviously a nice gross type. Was allowed 3 weeks between runs, and then the back up into this purposefully to knock the edge off her last week. They said she's only going to swim this week, which is a bit of an issue for mine. I really would have preferred to see a little bit more fitness base going into this. If they're trying to freshen her up into a testing heavy track, and she's a heavy fronted, stocky sort of nuggety type, I don't think a soft track's really going to suit her either. Picking holes in her probably because she is such a quality animal, but I just think, 5, 6, what's this, her 7th run as a 2-year-old. She's had the 3-run prep into the Gold Coast Magic Millions. Now she's having another 3 runs, 2 runs, and this is her 3rd run in again for the Golden Slipper. She's really had a tough preparation as a 2-year-old, and as bomb-proof as she seems to be, I'm just a little bit worried that this is a bridge too far on a hard track, or soft track, a hard testing track, and just think that if there's any chinks in her armour, they'll be shown up tomorrow simply because she's favourite. I'm looking to oppose her with those couple of queries, negatives against her. Esther Jarb, we've also talked about, really did love her first start in the race where she was let run and just put them away. Short break, 35-day break, came out and probably should have beaten Sunlight. There was a couple of average things went against her there, probably hindsight, if she lets them go, she comes around the leader's heels and wins there, but it was sort of a 2-horse war and set it up for Sunlight. Came out and I thought was maybe ridden a little too cute last start, and that nearly went against her, but she had the quality to hold them off. Now draws a wide gate, which I just hope they let her run. Don't even try and, like, I don't want to lead by 10, but just allow her to set her own tempo in front, and she looks mighty hard to beat. Ahood, shown there before in the Blue Diamond, was a monster effort there. It was a monster effort at the start before that as well, when no luck. Blinkers go on and definitely looks the interesting horse leading into this race that can definitely feature at odds. Zach Burton comes over to ride. I think it'll be in a similar position to Performer with the blinkers applied, and can run a bold race at big odds. Fiesta, I think, just lacks the quality. I thought she was primed to win that fillies race first up, and she did another decent job in a fillies race since. 3 weeks between runs. I really do think she needs Act of God to win, especially drawn gate 19. I can't see how she can get home here. Sizzling Bells, been well placed, a win of 3 out of 4 runs, and only narrowly beaten in the Black Opal last start at Canberra. Quality's the problem here. Probably a player for 3rd, 4th if the inside's not too bad, and she does look a wettish track type. I think she'll finish closer to first than last, but probably tested. Seabrook was very unlucky first up at Caulfield in a decent enough race with who was also back in the field. Seabrook was held up on the inside, came out and was given a great ride last time by Bowman. Huge solid tempo was in her favour. They were slowing right down late and she got over the top of them. I think that was a flattered performance, and really think she needs to find a few lengths to test the likes of Performer, Estajab, Sunlight, Santos, and Written By here. Can't have her. Secret Lady looks tested. She ran well the other day and really needs to lift a lot, but that beaten 4 lengths by Sunlight won every chance last start. Probably faces too tough a task when she looks like having to work from a wide gate early. And Corfila's got a run. Its run was okay in that Canberra Black Opal, but I think that form's not quite up to it, and really looked to not be up to him in the Black Opal and the Blue Diamond either. So I think she's maybe tackling something a little bit outside of her grade at this time too. So for me, very quick recapping, saying Estajab is going to power forward hopefully and really give them something to chase and catch. I think Performer's clearly the run on horse and the one to hold out. Santos should be nice and strong, and I think if they go quick or slow, it'll be suited from that sort of middling gate. And then the 2 favourites, Sunlight and Written By, are likely to be there as well, but I think they've been a little bit overvalued and can be a little bit susceptible here, and should be a little bit longer in the market. So the only knock on them is their price. Who's the knockout runner for mine at 25 to 1. There's no doubt about that, with the blinkers going on, and looks suited by a solidish tempo. So no real surprises there, but I do think there's a little bit of value in the likes of $10 Performer and $13, $14 a little bit around it for Estajab, $26 Uhu. They'd probably be my 3 winners, and I wouldn't want to lose if Santos won, but I think $10 is probably right on its right price. Thanks guys, and good luck.